All right, here we are. Welcome in, back for the episode. Mandy, how are we doing? What's going on?
I'm doing awesome. I've been in Ohio with my family. I'm back and ready to rock. What about you, Amani?
I have not been in Ohio, but I am here, ready to
How was
rock.
your trip? But
and
you're under the weather. I feel like you're sick.
yes,
How
yes.
are you
Well,
taking
I
care of
was much
yourself?
worse, so I rested all weekend,
Good.
and it's just congestion that's getting out of me. So I feel much better than I did Friday because Friday and Saturday were tougher, but Sunday was good, and then today's even better. So we're ready to go. I feel good.
Ready to go. Ready to go. Should we get to our guest?
We could introduce our guest. I'm gonna bring her out from the green room already. So talk to us, introduce her. Let's see.
Well, I am so honored that we have Clara Carter, who is the founder of the Multicultural Convention Services Network. She's the founder and producer of Women in Tourism and Hospitality National Conference. She's been acknowledged as a meetings trendsetter by Meeting Today, and she's an instructor for SDSU meetings and events program. So, Clara Carter, welcome to Adventures in Business. It's so awesome to have you here.
Thank you so much, Mandy, for that amazing introduction. And I am honored to be your guest today.
Yeah. The honor is all ours. We have so
Yeah.
much to talk about, so little time. Mandy, where shall we begin? I think you probably have some interesting questions. I know I do. I'm gonna let you start off first, though.
Well, I want to start off. I want to go straight to the heart of the matter because we are T minus 1 month away from your Women in Tourism and Hospitality National Conference. And I can't even believe you're with us with your 30 days away because I know it's crunch time. Can you just tell everybody what is the WITH conference? How did it start? And just, a little bit about the history of it and then how they can get involved with it for this year.
Awesome. I'll be happy to share that information. And, I am really, you're right. It is crunch time, as I call it. It's my final stretch, right? Before we get to the conference. And so the way that the Women in Tourism and Hospitality started was I had this wonderful idea one year, about 7 years ago now, to honor women that were trailblazing and leading the way in San Diego for hospitality and tourism. And what I knew that many other people probably didn't know is that our city was being run by these amazing, phenomenal, badass women. Okay.
Yeah.
And, and so I wanted to share them. I wanted them to provide them with a platform in which they could share their stories and to be able to inspire and motivate other women to reach their highest potential in either their careers and or their professional development for entrepreneurship, right? As well as the young professionals and the students. So I decided, you know what, Claire? Every year you do these mixers and that. So why don't you change that up and do an awards luncheon?
Hmm.
So I did that, and I decided I was going to go to those women that I knew personally that were running the city of San Diego and invite them to the stage. And
Hmm.
every one of them said yes. So I was
Oh,
only missing like two women to fill
yeah.
the stage. So I went to my resources and said, hey, I'm looking for this. And, this type of woman, can you help me out? And before you know it, the stage was filled, right?
Mm.
And so year number one, 2016, we were at the Lafayette Hotel.
Hmm.
That's where our first event took place.
Yeah.
Sellout event. It was a sellout. Year number two, we outgrew the space. So
Hmm.
year number two, we went to the window, sold out the
Mm.
venue again. Year number three, we went over to the Four Points by Sheraton, sold out the event again, right?
Amazing.
So I was like, you know what? These women wanted more. They wanted more. And they were
Yeah.
telling me they wanted more. Right. And so I listened, and no one ever wanted to leave the event after it was over. They were
Hmm.
just like on a high.
Yeah.
And so I went back, I formed an advisory board. I went to them and I said, hey, you know what? We've got to do something more for these women because they are like saying this is not enough for this luncheon. I said the only thing I could think of that would be more would be a conference.
Mm-hmm.
And they were looking at me like I lost my mind, right? A conference, Clara? What? I said, well, you know me. I think way out the box, right? I'm
Mhm.
always thinking out the box and creating these amazing challenges for myself, like this technology stuff too. But
You did
anyway,
it. But you did it. You're here. You did it. You conquered it. Another conquer.
another conquer. So anyway, so needless to say, that's what ended up happening. And so I formed an amazing advisory board of, some of my supporters and with honorees. And from there, they're like, let's do it. So here we are in year number 3, planning the with international conference. But I have to just backtrack. Year number 1 got off to a very rocky start, and that was in 2020. And I don't even tell you anymore because everybody knows what happened in 2020,
Yeah,
right?
we all know that's a good year to start a new conference.
Right? 1 week from the day of the conference, Mandy,
Oh,
that we
wow.
got shut down.
Wow.
So there you have it.
So,
Well,
well, go ahead, and then I'll follow up with you, Manny. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, so I attended the conference not last year, but the year before for my very first time. And a funny story is I was so enmeshed in what all of these speakers were saying. I couldn't write fast enough. I was feverishly writing. And then at the very end of the conference, I looked back and I was like, oh, I really only I wrote probably like 17 pages. And I look back, I'm like, oh, I have like 12 really awesome quotes. And then I was like, I'm gonna 12 quotes, one for every month of the year. I'm making a calendar out of this. So I made a calendar for myself. And then I'm like, you know what? I know how hard people work to produce this. I'm going to make an extra calendar for Clara. So I actually sent Clara a calendar that has a quote from each month because that conference was so impactful. It was so uplifting. And what I loved about it is it wasn't just all salespeople, it was HR directors in the hospitality industry, it was general managers, it was operators. It was all women and and advocates for women in hospitality all coming together. So, like, you could be at a table with different people that have different roles and you're all sharing awesome things. So I really appreciated it. And I could just tell you firsthand how impactful it was. So keep going because I think it's we need it. We need more of it. I think it's awesome.
Yes, we do. And you know what, Mandy? When I received that calendar, I was over the moon. Okay. I was like,
Ah,
this is so thoughtful of her. You sent a note and then you sent the calendar. And it just meant so much to me for all of the work that I had put into this conference to see that it really touched someone
it
in
totally
an
touched me.
amazing way. And for you to recapture it, that meant a whole lot to me. So I thank you again publicly for
Anything. Yeah.
that nice gesture that you did. It was really wonderful.
It's good
So,
stuff.
my question, we're going to reverse roles because Mandy loves her Wayback Machine. But I want to go to the Wayback Machine here and just ask you, since you started Multicultural Convention Services Network in approximately like November 2004, so you're coming up on 20 years. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
What changes or evolutions have you seen in the industry that have caught you most by surprise?
Ooh.
Oh my.
Mm.
That's a big question.
Mhm.
Okay. What has caught me most by surprise is the fact, well, everything really kind of shifted after COVID, and that itself caught me totally off surprise because of the fact that everything was shut down. And then when we came back, many people that were our industry friends and that they shifted their careers,
Mm.
they moved on to other, careers and things of that nature, professions. And what really got me was when people started working from home.
Mm.
I thought that, I love it. I work from home, but many of my colleagues, they were having a really, really tough time of adjusting to this new norm, right? And so that within itself was a huge game changer. And not only the working from home was a game changer, but technology. OMG.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot. The technology was a lot for all of us. Yeah.
Technology just came in, did its thing. People that I knew that were doing AV now were doing these, webinars and Zoom and all. They were zooming. And I was like, what is going on? So I started, just like engaging and joining some of these sessions so that I could just, see what they were doing. I was really curious. So those are some of the things that I see that has been a shift. But the other thing that I've seen, Amani, is that the cost of goods,
Yeah.
room, okay, room nights, food and beverages off the chart. Okay. And as a meeting professional who, I do hotel sourcing and contract negotiation, similar to that of what you do, Mandy. And, you know, uh, negotiating these contracts, for my clients and that type of thing has been really, really a challenge. And so that we, the third party planners and hoteliers, can now realign ourselves together, to learn about how can we best support you, and then how can you best support us and our clients, because at the end of the day, we're all trying to, work for the client and make sure that everybody has a nice, memorable experience. And the only way we could do that is communicate and say, what can we do? What can you do to help us make our job easier?
Okay. To continue with that line of questions, so this is kind of you mentioned two really good points about the evolution and what we've learned.
Yeah.
As you're working with, first we'll ask speakers, then I will ask hotels. What have been the most differentiating characteristics for the speakers that you've worked with that have had their messages come across the best way?
Have their best come across the best way?
Yes.
What I have to say is, being in this industry, icon, I guess, a trailblazer within my own right here in the industry. Resources, connections mean so much. And I'm very, very honored and pleased that the level of speakers that I have been able to bring to this conference have been nothing short of world renowned and the best in class, as it relates to their profession, including Mandy. She's going to be joining us this year, and I can't wait to.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yes, she'll be doing a networking session, and
Gonna
which
have
we all.
fun.
Yes. So, but yes, the speakers have been just second to none in terms of their professional, platform and their topics that they're bringing. And I'm just really so freaking excited about these speakers. And every year it just keeps elevating, right? And I'm finding these speakers as I'm going out to conferences
Yes.
and I'm hearing them, right? And I'm seeing them on stage and I'm like pulling them to the side. Hey, can we talk? You
Yeah.
know? And then I'm telling them about the opportunities here at the WITH conference and just extending the invitation. And then the next thing you know, they're like, yeah, I would love to talk to the women. So
Mhm.
that for me has been really a game changer as it relates to just asking and receiving and negotiating and coming to a happy medium. And, here we are having
Here we
some
are.
of the most profound speakers. So if anybody out there thinking about it, you guys need to come because you're going to learn from the best at this conference.
So quick shout out to Chris in the chat. Thank you, Chris, for being here. And then Veronica Segovia. Hope I said your last name right, Veronica. Thank you for joining us here. Finally, and then this is probably a good segue to what Manny wants to ask, but as you're working with the hotel salespeople, one of the challenges we've seen is a couple things. It's becoming harder to attract younger professionals into the industry. And number two, a lot of the hotel professionals, just in terms of negotiating work with the clients, have some areas of opportunity that they need to improve on. What have you noticed working with them, and what have you noticed throughout your years of working with hotel professionals?
Oh my, hotel professionals. I have really, I'm enjoying the experience of working with some of the hotel professionals. Again, they only know what they know. And then because I'm the seasoned girl, I can kind of go in and say, hey, let's try this. Because for them, everything's pretty much a cookie cutter,
Mhm.
not the cookie cutter girl. So I stretch them. I stretch the chef. I stretch any and everybody there because I want them to take their skills and their professions to a whole nother, come out of the box with me for a minute. So I do that a lot as I'm planning for this conference. And when we're talking about the young professionals, Amani, I can't say enough about the young professionals. And because I have such a passion for creating experiences and educating and sharing and just helping them to reach their fullest potential, we added a half day on our conference to just focus on young professionals.
Nice.
know? And we've always had a component of the conference, which was just a speed networking, where the young professionals,
Mhm.
and it was always invited only. The first, 20 young professionals that sign up get this an amazing opportunity to meet with the C-suite. And we have our honorees, okay, past honorees, and as of today, Amani, we have 42 amazing women that we have honored throughout the city of San Diego, and two that are national in scope. But the Young Professionals event, we decided to do a half a day. And so this year, it is going to be so amazing. We were, it's sponsored by US Bank as our sponsor for the Young Professionals Day. We're going to have at least 30 young professionals in this particular session. What are they going to receive? And I'm saying, oh my God, I wish I had that when I
Mhm.
started my career, right? Never once would I've had the opportunity of what these young people are going to do. They're going to have the opportunity to sit and chat with C-suite um, professionals, CEOs and VPs of operations and HR directors, and they're going to talk about everything from putting their resumes together to how to put their LinkedIn profiles. I need them to show me how to do that. But anyway,
We can talk about that. We got you. We can talk. Just, I'll do a special breakout session. We'll talk about that later.
there you go, LinkedIn session. But it's just going to be amazing. And then they have the opportunity to have one-on-ones with the C-suites, right? To ask those compelling questions that may be a challenge in their career, that might be something that they're looking at, or having a challenge in school, maybe, or trying to figure out where they go when they get out of school. So we're going to have all of that information and the professionals at the table to answer those type of questions. So I'm really excited about that.
Amazing. Okay, Manny, take it away.
Yeah. I think I think we see this all the time in hotels. Recruitment and retention are hard. And what the young people want right now, they want a voice and they want to have a clear roadmap and a path. And what you're doing for them is giving them a roadmap and a path and lining them up. So I love that you're doing that. Okay, enough about the young people and the conference. I have heard you have days named after you in San Diego. What is this about? And how do I want a day named after me? How did this happen 3 times? Like, what are the days? What are they for? And how did this go
Oh
down?
my goodness. Yes, everybody asked that question. I said I'm going to put that in my book. Okay.
Do it.
Yeah. When's the book coming out? When's the book coming out? Or we'll ask you that next.
You know what? What I started off saying, it's about your resources, your connections, and it's also about you showing up, being consistent with what you say you're going to do, all right, and providing opportunities to people to improve your community, your city, and I've always been about that business of my community, and I'm always sharing information and knowledge. So how does one get a day? I was shocked on, my first one. I created a program. And this is what I'm saying about I'm not the cookie cutter girl. I'm out the box totally. Yes, I'm a meeting strategist and I provide, these third parties services to my clients for booking meetings. But outside of that, I'm always that girl of thinking of what else can I do?
Mhm.
Okay, to make a difference, right? Because there's so much work to be done out here to do a better job of marketing and promoting our industry. You know, showing them that there's all of these pathways in which they can select. And many people don't know it. And I learned that from when I'm out in my community and I say some things and they're looking like, what? What is that? And what? Yes, there's all these opportunities. And it's not just hotels. So I start painting this whole global picture of take yourself on a trip. When you go outside of San Diego and you go to a destination, what do you do when you go there? So I'm getting in your mind now. What are you doing? How
Mhm.
are you, where are you spending your money on? Okay. Every single touch point that you go into a city, you go to a restaurant, you go for theater, you go for nightlife, you go for amusements, you go for all of these things, sites tours and museums, all of that is hospitality and tourism. And how do you even get there? You're usually coming in on a plane, you
Mhm.
know? Well, that's part of our industry. And
Mhm.
people don't know that. So those are the things that, really resonate with me when I am, teaching and talking to people about all of the choices that they have when they are looking at tourism and hospitality, you know?
I love that. So how did
Yeah.
the city of San Diego give you your own
Oh
day? How did that happen?
You're still gonna tie me to that one. She's
I'm
like,
holding
okay.
you to it. I
I
love it.
digress.
I
I
love it.
digress for a minute. I'm sorry, Mandy. So the way that came about, the first one was that I created a program called the Multicultural Fam Tour. And
Mm.
because I wanted to increase diversity for conferences coming into the city of San Diego, right? And I saw that there was a missed opportunity. And as I go out to the conference and I talk to people and ask them how come they're not coming into our destination, and I'm hearing, oh, because, either it's never been, it's too expensive,
Mm.
which is what I was being told. Okay, that people are not coming in here, people of color, because San Diego's just too expensive. That is not it.
Mhm.
Okay, because people of color spend more money than any other travel person that is out there frequenting these cities. But the fact of the matter was that they were not being responding to. No one was really getting back to them.
Mm.
We never had their dates, but no one never bothered to ask them, are you willing to change your pattern of meeting?
Mhm.
Right? So I got in there and I did all these things. Well, because I did this phenomenal 3 times in a row multicultural fam tour and generated over $5.3 million in revenue, tourism revenue for the city of San Diego.
Amazing.
Okay. That within itself resonated back to the city because I'm going to let everybody know that this is what I'm doing. Mayor, city council people, whomever that are the power players, right?
Mhm.
And because of that, and I'm inviting them to my table so you can see it. And as a result of that, I received my first Clara Carter Day. Okay.
Yeah. What is Clara Carter Day? What is it? When is it?
What's the day?
So many days. It's a day. The city gives you your own day named in your honor.
No, but
Okay. And
what's the actual
do whatever
dates?
you
What
want to do on your day,
Oh,
And so I just, a lot of times the Clara Carter Day for me is Clara just taking a break and doing a
Yes.
whole total spa day or something that I love.
Yes.
Okay. Other times I've brought my friends together and we've gone out and celebrated, with lunch or dinner or something to commemorate the day of Clara Carter. And so, it has been more than an honor to just know that people are always watching. And I say
Mm.
that because many people are just, you're working, and like me being this entrepreneur in my own space, you don't realize that people are really watching what you're doing and the lives that you're transforming as you're doing this work. And then they come out and they're supporting you in those type of ways. So yes, that in itself means so much to me. That yes, I was acknowledged, and it was by different mayors. So and it comes from the mayors to the city council, and because I have a very good connection with my city council, that runs my district, I'm always inviting them. I'm always sharing with them what I'm doing. I'm
Mhm.
always asking what can they do, okay?
Mm.
Help tourism, for our destination. So I'm bringing them into my world.
Mhm.
Okay. So
I think that's a
yeah,
good point, and it's a good reminder for people of like, let your local officials know what you're doing, how you're making an economic impact, and bring them into the fold. And there's such a mutual relationship that can happen there. But I think a lot of times people don't they're like, oh, local government doesn't care, but it does, especially in a city like San Diego where tourism is so important. So I that's very smart.
and the fact of the matter is, local officials work for us.
Hmm.
And that's what people need to remember, is that they would not even be in office if it were not for us to help support them to get them in office. And our job is to help them to be knowledgeable
Yeah.
about these areas of which they may not be. And as a result of some of this is that they have created commissions and different things like that that now focuses back on tourism, because we're the third economic engine for this whole city of San Diego, and that's no little chump change.
Hmm.
Okay, we're talking about, we're operating, our tourism revenue is helping the city employees to be employed, and all of that, the police, the firemen, all of that, but
Hmm.
people look at that. So that's what I'm saying, you have to kind of immerse yourself into where the money is flowing and how it's flowing and who's
Mm,
benefiting from it.
I love
What
that.
what is the date this year? What is Clara Carter Day this year? When?
Well, we just missed the Clara Carter Day. It was on February the
Oh,
19th.
okay. Man,
Ooh.
Clara Carter
okay.
Day just passed on February the 19th. I have another Clara Carter Day that's coming up, and I have them all on my wall over here. Coming up in September. So
Okay.
generally, when I give these conferences, for three consecutive, well, they wasn't consecutive, but one was my 10-year anniversary.
Mhm.
Okay, I received that first Clara Carter Day. And then now we're talking about February the 19th. And then we're talking about September. And I think I have two well, one is in March. March, March 2017. I'm looking at my wall. Okay, because I put things up there just to kind of keep myself, grounded in that. But yeah, these are just days. And I said, I don't know what to do with them yet. So I haven't really gotten to a point where I've created an event around them yet. But maybe soon come.
More to come, more to come.
Share- wanted to share one other thing while I'm on this part out of the box stuff. Last year, we skipped 2023 for a conference, and it was intentional because we wanted to do a better job of our marketing and our branding, right? And kind of come back in and just say, hey, how can we do this better and build these better relationships with our partners and our sponsors, right? And then Clara Carter decided that she was going to go out the box again and create this amazing, really scary opportunity, which I call Coastal Connections, right? And I wanted to go outside of San Diego to some of these other destinations to market and promote women in tourism and hospitality and find out who the movers and shakers were in these more diverse communities and cities. So I selected Houston and Atlanta for 2023. And I did a pitch and they accepted my pitch to the hotel, told them who I was. I didn't know any of these people. And I just did this amazing pitch. And they said, yes, Clara Carter, we would love to host you. And then I put them to work. Okay. I said, I need you to bring all of the women that are, C suites in your respective city to attend this amazing event. So there we had that happen. Houston, amazing. Rolled out the red carpet, the whole bit. And then in Atlanta, amazing. And it was from the Atlanta mixer that I received my title sponsor for this year's conference from the East Point Convention Visitors Bureau. The president was there in the room at my event. Never talked about sponsorship, never talked about any of that. You see what I'm saying? And it's about, again, building the relationships, and finding out things that what you have in common or what a need is that they have. And so it happened.
Interesting. Congrats on the sponsorship too. Wow.
Thank you.
I always love to talk about trends. And so I'm curious your perspective when you're looking at hospitality, meetings and events industry, and trends looking ahead to 2025 and beyond. Which ones are you keeping an eye on?
Ooh, the trends that I'm keeping an eye on, first and foremost, is I want to continually see women advance and be at the table and on the stage and, just running tourism. I also want to see more diversity. I want to see, all of these association organizations that are meeting focused and related, that they start to, and they've started a little bit here, but that they continue to shine a spotlight on all of these amazing women that I'm talking about that the world doesn't know exist, right? And to do a little bit more research and figuring out who they are. And you can talk to Clara Carter. She knows a whole bunch of them. But you know what I'm saying? I want to see more of that. I want to see more opportunities for us, in all areas, all prospects. I want women to see women using their voices more, speaking up instead of settling. I want to see the young professionals, I want to see them win. I want to see them just, get out of school, do your thing. Or if you don't even want to do that, do the entrepreneur route, but continue to grow in professional development. That to me is really, really key.
Now, we've noticed in the industry and really in kind of corporate America that DE&I has kind of lost some of its impact, and they've kind of say, "Oh, I've checked that box back," once George Floyd happened and all that, and now they've kind of gone on.
Oh,
Okay, so I'm assuming you've noticed that similar thing. How do you address that and making sure it stays at the forefront of the conversation and people are just kind of forgetting about it based on what has happened the past few years?
all right, Amani, you really touching on. You really getting deep. But you know what? You know what, Amani? I so appreciate you going there because I am that straight shooter. And anybody that knows me, they know that about Clara, right? I'm going to consistently, every opportunity that I get, to hold you accountable for checking that box. Okay? Because what I said before, people are watching you. I'm watching them. And I'm looking at you checking these boxes. And I'm looking at what your website looks like and your board looks like and your staff looks like. Okay? And then I'm sitting here saying, oh, wait a minute. Okay, but you checked the box for DEI. Do you know that DEI stands for more than just, having a woman on board? you know, or you have to go in deep and look at the culture, because every single organization needs to have people of color there, because we collectively have got to hear each other at the table to be able to, to get to the diverse meetings and the clients and that. You've got to have a team, a collective team of professionals in every situation. So again, how do you hold those people accountable? You call them out on it. That's how you hold them accountable. I've gone and actually made the call and said, hey, 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 I see that you're talking about DEI. You're saying that you support us women and this. And I looked on your website. I didn't see not one woman on there, let alone did I see one of color.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then I'll go to these other organizations and say, hey, you guys have a whole DEI and you're supposed to be sending out these RFPs. I have yet to receive one.
Mhm.
And I'm certified. So what's going on with that? So you hold them accountable. And then the next thing you know, things start happening, things start changing. And then again, be the voice that you want to, be the change that you want to
Let's
see.
see. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's where I always start with me,
Okay.
right? Be the change that you want to see and go out, Clara, and make that difference. Open up that door. Like I went to Houston and I went to Atlanta. Nobody knew me. And they're like, how are you going to do something like, I'm just going to do it.
Just
Because
gotta do it.
it doesn't matter where you go, because everybody has that DEI box,
Mhm.
Yes. Yes.
right? So show up.
Yes. I gotta say hello. Thank you, Dee Mittman, for she loved the statement you said about speak up instead of settling.
Yes.
And I
Hi,
believe
Dee. We love Dee. Dee's from Virginia Beach.
okay, Virginia Beach, the
I mean,
757, the 757. And then,
757.
and then we have Shalini. I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Sasi Kumar. I'm gonna try it. She said that she's actually seen this happen in real time. We were talking about the DEI and the boxes checking and called people out. So thank you all for tuning in. Please continue to put questions and comments in the chat. We've come to the time of the show where we flip the script. We're going to allow you to ask both myself and Mandy a question. Any question you want to ask us. Nothing is off limits. Who do you want to ask a question to first?
okay. Well, because I'm really curious about this podcast stuff, So how did you, Mandy, come up with this amazing idea of having these podcasts and having, business professionals come on board, such as myself, to your show?
Yeah, it was actually Amani is he's the past president of MPI Southern California. And I was a volunteer on the speaker committee several years ago, 3 years ago now. And is
Uh-huh.
it, yeah, 2 years, 3 years, anyways, a while ago. And we were talking about how to promote registration. You know how the committees work, because the whole committee, everyone's got a bunch of ideas. I would just been interviewed for a LinkedIn Live for something totally different, and I was like, "Hey, why don't we just do a LinkedIn Live once a week leading up to the conference, like 5 or 6 weeks leading up to the conference, and one week we'll release the general session speaker, and another week we'll talk about sponsors, and another week just kind of hyping the conference, but just 10-minute segments." And then Amani, as somebody else was like, "Great idea. Now go with it." I was like, "Well, goodness sakes." And then Amani's like, "I got this." So then Amani and I then started these LinkedIn live sessions just to promote the conference. Well, then, and it did great. Like it was a really good pressure point. We did see a little spike in registration after each week. So then after that, he and I were like, well, we loved working together like this. How do we keep working together? And so we're both fascinated with business and we both are entrepreneurs. So we decided to start Adventures in Business. And that was almost 2 years ago now. And our thing is, we really want to talk with entrepreneurs or people that are entrepreneurs, right? If you work for a corporation, but you just have an entrepreneurial mindset, we really want to talk with people that they are tripping, they are falling, they are triumphing, they're succeeding, because we all know there's a lot of ups and downs with all of this, and we hand select people that we know will be vulnerable, will be honest, will share their weakness, will share their strength, because none of us are going to learn anything by just hearing all the best practices, but we all learn by people being like, oh man, I'll never take that type of client again. Or, oh man, like that's a piece of technology I'll never use again. So we really focus on really authentic entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs from all different industries. And then on the other side of that, Amani's a DJ. He's a awesome, awesome events DJ. He's been doing it for years. But during COVID, he became a Twitch star. So he's on Twitch and he does live streaming. So me with my like insanity for talking to humans and wanting to like know more about everybody, and Amani with his great interview research and his knowledge of live streaming and just being a great DJ with all the equipment. That's how we started came together of like, we really complement each other in different ways. So that's how our show was started, and we're not stopping. We're going. We're going
and running.
That is awesome. So with the DJ, Amani, I'll come out and get a musical interlude or something like
that. When you rewatch the actual show, you'll see that your picture and there's music underneath your picture coming into the show. Number one. Number two, we have little sound effects, like we give you some applause or whatever. So we got the sound effects going there. We're waiting for the proper time. And then, we added in there here and there. And, I would be remiss if I didn't say, when you have all these events, you need music there. And so you need to get a good corporate DJ there to help you out. And if you want a session that tells people the impact of music for their events and programs, I know a really good speaker that can help out there too. Was that your question for me, or did you have another question for me?
Yeah, that was really my question for you. And the other question is, I know you guys have interviewed so many amazing people on your session here on the podcast. So tell me, what was one of the most interesting sessions that you may have had with an entrepreneur on your session, and what made them so unique, if you will?
Ooh. Amani, you go first. You go first.
Yeah. Well, we love all of our guests. So, we love all our guests for different reasons. I always go back to one of my favorites, actually, is Jenny Perrin.
And you stole mine. She
talks to us about digestion walks and health, and it was just so impactful. It's probably the time period that we were in life, but that was just one that keeps coming back up. There's many other favorites. There's one, like we had Talisa Villa, who's really high executive for IHG Hotel Group. She's one person we should introduce you to, because she's like African-American female up in almost the C-suite level for IHG. She was really good. There's so many others that come to mind. It's just that Jenny, I just really liked what she shared in terms of her, just the health and everything. And I still go back and ask her questions to this day. So that'll be mine.
And you know what, Amani, I have to say, you mentioned that was a time, but you know what? As women, health and wellness is always a time.
Amen.
And that's something that we have to do a little bit better job at. And I always am looking at health and wellness at the forefront, because again, we as women, not to take anything away from you men, but we women have a whole lot of stuff that we have to deal with on a daily basis, not only dealing with our businesses, dealing with our, families. Many of us are care providers to seniors in our family, right?
Yeah.
So we have to really remind ourselves that our health is our wealth, and we have to take care of that first and foremost. So I want to meet that person about health and wellness. Are they here locally?
No, she's in Ohio, but she will travel, and I will gladly introduce you. She's that was an interview, I will say, because you're, as a producer, you're looking at it one way, as an interviewer, you're looking at another, and then just as like a listener listening back to it, like that was one that I think kind of hit like tens on all things. It was a great guest. And I think overall, where we've been really lucky with our guests is all of them have practical, tactical tips. All of them. right? Like you just dropped a whole bunch of knowledge nuggets in there of like how you show up and garnering your resources and you're building your network. I think the best guests are coming to the table and they're dropping practical tactical tips. Not that they're rehearsing them, but they're
Right.
just so experienced in what they do that they're just dropping knowledge and you re-listen and you're like, oh, great idea, I'm going to activate this. So I think we've been lucky with guests just really dropping really good information too.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Agreed.
awesome.
Now we have a couple final questions. I have my favorite one, which I am very curious to hear what you say. And then Mandy has hers too. So, and it was hard to determine where you went to school and where you grew up. I'm gonna let you tell us.
Okay.
But if we go back to younger 21-year-old Clara and give her advice based on everything you've learned so far in life, what advice would you give your younger self?
Oh my. That I should have a mentor at the onset because my 21-year-old Clara did not have a mentor.
Ooh.
Okay. But my 21-year-old self was working a corporate job. All right. I landed a corporate job at 20 years old. Right.
Wow.
And I wish I had someone to help guide and, give me some nuggets in terms of what I needed to do at that time for personal development. Because all I was thinking about was career development,
Yes.
So I wish I'd done that. And where did I go to school? I'm a native. I consider myself a native San Diegan. I've been here since I was 6 years old.
Aw.
I don't even want to tell you how old I am now, but I'll tell you that I have 5 grandchildren and I have 2 adult children, 44 and 37. So that kind of I'm not 44, so
I mean, you could have had me fooled. You could have had me fooled here. So I'm doing the math like 45. How does that work? But keep going. Keep going.
But yeah, so I have 2 beautiful children, 5 amazing grandchildren. And so, yes, I went to Lincoln High School. And from Lincoln High School, I went to business school. At that time, it was San Diego College of Business, straight out of Lincoln. And then from San Diego College of Business, which is a trade school, I thought I was going to be a court reporter. All right, that's what I was going to school for. And then because of the skills that I gained from school, I ended up having the opportunity of working for one of the largest monopolies in San Diego, corporate, and landed that job at 20, as I mentioned, and
Wow.
then continued my education by going to college and taking different courses on marketing and business courses and things of that nature, and things just miraculously happened. But then I left my corporate job because I was such a young girl when I started, and I had it with corporate, and I took the leap of faith
Amen.
at 40 years old and decided I was going to be in charge of my own destiny, and I haven't turned back.
Ah, that's
So,
inspiring. Very
Lord,
inspiring. Mhm.
Yes. Well, Mandy, I'm gonna let you take it home from here. I got a lot to think
Yeah.
about. I got a lot to
I
think about.
know. Lots to think about. So two final questions. One is if you're Dee, who works for the Virginia Beach Tourism Board, she's a great representative of that organization. If you're someone like Dee and you're in a tourism district that wants to do more multicultural events, like what advice do you have? How do they get started? How do they connect with you, or how do they get started to build that multicultural convention business?
That's a wonderful question, Mandy. I was actually invited last year to the PRSA conference to talk just about that,
Awesome.
right? And so some of the nuggets that I can share and that I shared there, you know, again, connect with people like myself, so that I can speak to you and talk to you about it. But more importantly, look at your community. There's so much room for um, growth. And if you, like one of them said, well, what if your city doesn't support multicultural tourism? Well, it's your job now to let them know how valuable the multicultural market is. Do some homework. But more importantly, now get out into your community and start talking to the businesses that are in your community, right? Letting them know that they are part of tourism,
Mhm.
right? Letting them know that these opportunities are available for them as well. And so what they have to do is just start looking outside of that box and collectively start some programs, start some niche programs that you don't see happening for your city. And then you just start bringing in like minded individuals who believe in what you're doing. And then magic starts to happen.
All the magic. Well, speaking of magic, how can we support you? How can we lift you up? I mean, if you want to tell everybody how to register for the upcoming conference, or how can we just support and lift you up in general?
You know what? Thank you for asking that question. How I would love to see support in this final stretch is just reposting our information about the conference. You know, and if there's some connections that in the industry that may have you know everybody has to do some kind of professional development, I believe. And if they're
Mhm.
not, shame on them. But this is all about professional development, our conference. Okay. Yes, it's empowering. Yes, it's motivational. Yes, it's inspirational. All of those things. But more importantly, it's about professional development. So if you know of any organizations or companies, I would be happy to have those referrals to invite them to bring their team. And I'll be willing to give them the Mandy special discount.
Oh, ooh, I got my own Mandy. I don't have my own San Diego Day, but I got my own Mandy special. I'll
Yo,
take
you
it. I
got your
like
own Mandy
that.
special, your own Mandy special. So
Love
I'll be
that.
willing to do that for some groups and that. So thank you for asking that question. But reposting, sharing information about the conference would be amazing. I like to just give a shout out to my sponsors while I'm here, because
Yes.
without my sponsor support, we could not do what we do without my amazing. So thank you, sponsors. And there's so many of them. You can look on my website, sdwithit.com, and see who's supporting us. But more importantly, also, I'd like to give a shout out to my amazing advisory board,
Mm,
okay, they're a working advisory board, right? So they are consistently meeting with me, finding out what's next, what can they do better to help. And I couldn't do this alone without my great, phenomenal planning team. So I have a phenomenal planning team who's helping us to get over the finish line, from our marketing, which you have seen out there in the space, to our administrative, support, and everything in between, my, vendors and everyone else. So I can't thank you enough for everyone that is on this team to help us. So I wanted to say that.
awesome.
Awesome.
I love that. Always give him flowers. That's really important stuff.
Yes. So we'll give you your flowers. As Mandy has said, you're doing amazing things in the industry, both locally in San Diego and worldwide. So please continue to do that. A
Thank
special
you.
shout out and props for just fighting through the tech issue. So props to you for getting it done. Most people would just be like, forget it. So
Most
thank
people would
you. You
quit.
did
You did. You hung with us. Thanks,
I'm
Clara. You
not a
did it.
quitter.
it. Yes. Yes. So we will give you a round of applause here. We're going to put you back in the green room really briefly. So just thanks again. Excited to see the conference in action. We're going to talk in the green room too. So don't go anywhere. So hold a round of applause here for Clara. Hold on. All right.
Go, Clara, go.
Awesome.
Amani, one of my takeaways, a big takeaway from that was that stuck out to me is the difference. She highlighted the difference between professional development and career development. I don't think we think about that enough, and I think that's something I'm gonna really marinate on, because I think that's really important to designate the difference, and and do things that are good for your career, one that are good for your professional development. I appreciated that.
Okay, because I was going to ask you if you could kind of tell us the difference, but you kind of just said it, so that's good. All
Yeah.
right, great
Yeah.
takeaway. I love it. Make sure maybe we talk about that in one of our next minis. Let's write that down as a topic too.
Oh, takeaways
Yeah,
or
takeaway, but also
professional
professional
versus
development,
career.
career development. That would be a good one there too.
It's good.
Let's do that. Let's write that down. And then who do we have to look forward to next week?
Okay, next week it's a stranger. I don't know who this is. I'm very excited. I love meeting strangers. So Damona Hoffman.
Oh, yes. So Damona, go ahead.
Yes.
Where's your book?
Dem-
So she's the new author of F the Fairy Tale. She's a supreme talented dating coach. She works really closely with Drew Barrymore at her show. She's been a podcaster and an author and a content creator for a long time. So Damona's gonna be a cool guest. I'm gonna try to read this whole book by the time we get there next week.
Oh my God, do it. And a dating coach, Amani. We're gonna put you in the hot seat. She's
We
gonna
could
give
put
you
me
all
in the
the
hot
dating
seat.
tips.
Yeah, yeah, she's got some great tips. It's really, really good. She's amazing. And like her Super Bowl is considered like Valentine's Day. So she just finished because that's really, really hot with the apps and stuff. So yeah, so this will be good. I'm gonna try to read. Let me add this to my book bag so I can read it while we're on the plane. So okay, cool.
Put
Yes,
put it in your book bag, Amani.
yeah, put it in the book bag. Read it during my breaks. The student's like, "What are you reading?" It's like, "Oh, a little book here." So, anyways, so that's next week. I think you're really gonna like her. She's cool. She's really cool, smart, fun. Awesome. Well, everyone, make sure you rate, review, subscribe to the podcast, share it with a friend, rate it on all the platforms you watch it. Thank you for watching live, and we will see everyone next week, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. on the West, and just another great show. Thank you again, Mandy and Claire.
Yeah, we'll see you next week. And keep your eyes out for our minis. We're releasing a mini today on LinkedIn, and we'll release another mini on Wednesday. So keep your eyes peeled for those as well.
Awesome. Yes, for sure.
Okay.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Bye.